Hi, everyone. Welcome to Web3 Women, where we are bringing you information about the Web3 space that we're building with blockchain. We're also showcasing the various women that are in this space. My name is Olienko Denerin. I'm the founder of Black Women Blockchain Council. And to my left, I have Tam.
Hi, I'm Tam, and I'm a blockchain education enthusiast. So today we got a lot for you guys. We got, of course, our tips and we got our hot topics. But before we get into that, we've decided that we want to go over some key components of blockchain to give you a little bit of understanding of what it is. Each episode, we're going to take a different component and take a short look at it. So the first component we're going to talk about is immutability. Yinka is going to give us some information on immutability in the blockchain.
So immutability means that you're not able to penetrate, destroy, or manipulate the data. So we say that blockchain is immutable simply because there's this thing called cryptography that's attached to it. It just means that we can utilize any type of data within the blockchain technology without fear of it being destroyed, manipulated, replaced, intercepted, and that's what immutability really means within this blockchain space.
Exactly. So there you have it. Immutability in the blockchain. Next up is my favorite part, hot topics. Hot topic time. Woo! Okay, so hot topic this week is actually going to be important for us to discuss last week's hot topic just slightly. So the hot topic this week is the SEC is now looking into Coinbase for their role in providing these securities to the general public. Now, as you remember from last week, the hot topic discussion was on SEC going after the former Coinbase employee and his brother and friend for insider trading of 9 coins that they deemed were securities. Okay, last week we gave you guys the blurb on each of those coins that are provided by the coins themselves, and we want to know based in the comments. So make sure you comment down below. Let us know if these sound like securities to you. All right, so we're going to go over the last 5 now, because last week we gave you a little bit of the information on the first 4. So these are the last 5. The DDX, which is a DAO, is a decentralized exchange for derivatives on Ethereum, is how they describe themselves. The next one is XYO, which is a cryptocurrency and operates on the Ethereum platform. The next one is the Rari governance token. It's a native token behind Rari Capital. Rari Capital is a non-custodial DeFi robo-advisor that autonomously earns users yield. Okay?
I gotta stop you there. So Rari and governance token is the ticker is
RGT.
Mm-hmm. So they literally say that they're a robo-advisor. You know, when you start using some words like we talked about last week, come on, like what do you assume that a regular person, right, a reasonable person would deduce from that? Advisor, what else does an advisor do?
Right.
Advisors are typically tied to securities. Well, in the
typically,
that's the understanding, right? But and we know that robo advisors are a lot of investment companies are doing that nowadays. So when you say robo advisor, you're kind of putting the red flag out there.
But so listen, we're not gonna say either way on all of these because we hadn't gotten to the in-depth explanation of the white papers of all these coins and see how they actually work. But we're just telling you from the descriptions, the SEC might have a little bit of a point. So in some of these coins. All right. So the next one is LCX, which is a secure and compliant platform for buying, selling, transferring, and storing digital currency. And the last one is POWR Ledger. Ticker is POWR. And it is a technology company that builds software for distributed and decentralized energy markets for a sustainable future. So based on these 5 today and the 4 from last week, guys, drop it in the comments. Let us know, do these sound like securities to you? Maybe you do a little bit more research and make your point for us. Let us know. We're not going to tell you either way, but we are pointing out some of the verbiage here, but we're not going to make a determination for you either way. But you let us know.
So this is fantastic transition into talking about how these crypto securities tie into, what the SEC is gunning for in this space, which is the ability to regulate. And so with this insider trading of crypto securities thing that they gave these 3 individuals, they are now looking at Coinbase. They said, that Coinbase knowingly made these crypto securities public. And now the general public is able to trade in them, etc. And so they're coming after Coinbase for that simple fact. And I just thought that was very interesting, because as we're going through the list of these 9 different crypto, quote unquote, securities, some of them are clear. It does have a lot to do with the language. How do you market yourself to the general public? If you're putting yourself out there as adjacent or security-ish, right?
Security-ish, I like that.
You use the language, if it walks like a duck, talks like a dog, or quacks like a dog, then it's a duck, right?
It's probably a duck.
That's literally the litmus test that they're going through. They're saying, these are unregistered securities, but are they putting themselves out there as or similar to securities? And I believe that's what the SEC is gunning for. And so in this regard, when they're coming after Coinbase, and I'm not an advocate for Coinbase, I'm just saying right now, you're coming after them for, quote unquote, knowingly putting these crypto securities out there. However, Coinbase is doing a rebuttal, right?
Yeah.
Their argument is that, we didn't know that these were crypto securities because you never told us that these were crypto securities, right?
And not only did you never tell us, but you were invited into our process and you never told us. So that's important.
That is important. That is important because, what TAM means is that, Coinbase, they're an exchange, right? And so they go out of their way to lobby the regulators and make sure that, the regulators are on board with what they're doing, because they really don't want to, mess with the flow of things when it comes to their money, right?
Yeah.
So they want to make sure that they're doing things on the up and up. And so you'll see a lot of the times that Coinbase will reach out to regulators and make sure that this does not violate any of their rules and regulation. Now, sometimes some of those, things aren't 100%. So, maybe they didn't get a clear-cut approval. However, in this regard, when you come after someone after you've moved the goalpost, or you never even had a goalpost
to start with,
at which point it's wrong, right? It's wrong.
Right.
I don't believe that any exchange out there would knowingly violate a rule that basically has highlighted what's a crypto and what's a crypto security, and say, we're going to go against that and put a crypto security out there to the public. And another thing that Coinbase does is that, they actually have a process when it comes to listing these securities. And some of those, the process itself, sometimes it does take a long time. I know a friend of mine, Tavonia Evans with Guapcoin. To this day, she's still waiting for Guapcoin to be approved to be on the Coinbase platform. And so it's not an easy process that, they don't give a blanket approval to everyone. You have to go through a rigorous process to even be listed. And all y'all know, like, once it's listed, it's like news, right?
Right. Exactly. And here's the other thing. So not only is Coinbase rebutting this whole idea that the SEC is bringing out, like you guys willingly knew, right? It's very difficult to say somebody knew something when they don't even know the full rules. Like, it's very, for the SEC to take that approach, a lot of other articles and things have come out to say also, if Coinbase is able to make the point that the SEC was invited into the process, which they were, right? This was done unknowingly. right? And then third, that some of these aren't actual even securities, then what does that say about the SEC's case against the former Coinbase employee as well, right? If so, I'm kind of questioning whether or not they're trying their hardest to make a example, of someone and of a corporation. Like, they're trying to just shove it down the crypto like market's throat, right? Versus actually coming out with things that make sense for everyone involved. And then I always want to question, like, why is that? Like, why is that? Why can't we be allowed to interact with this market from educated space while you guys get it together? Because if you're in this market, if you're in this sector, how important research is. All right. And so I don't know. It really does. It begs me. There's like so many questions. Like, why is the SEC so adamant about this when they haven't even outlined the rules appropriately? Like, why are they so adamant about it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, Coinbase, on their blog, they mentioned that, they've written a petition to the SEC for them to actually have a rule, to make a rule, right? So that, they know, when they're crossing that line. Because right now it's kind of it is left up in the air. They did say it's a case by case basis. And so that's understanding. But however, you can't just come now and say, well, you violated this because now we have deemed this, to be crypto security. And then another thing is, I thought that they had a safe harbor, or they were putting together a safe harbor process for a lot of these companies or projects that are now deemed to be securities. That they had, at least what I read, was that they were going to have 2 years to now abide by the SEC rule and now register as a security
once it was deemed.
So it's like, they're putting things out on one hand, but then on the other hand, they're doing something totally different, and it's not fair to the space. And I think that the SEC really needs to reevaluate, how they're going to show up in this space. I think trying to pigeonhole the crypto securities, quote unquote, or cryptocurrencies into rules and regulations that were created in the 1933, 34
for an asset that we didn't even have then.
That doesn't really work so well. It doesn't. Like, we're well over 100 years now, and there's a need, there's time now for the SEC to advocate for the senators to come up with a new rule and regulation, right? Because the SEC does not make the rule, they enforce the rule. And so it's your state senators that are actually creating that created the 1933, 34, 1940 Act that deals with the whole investment security. So, and they created those acts right after the 1929 stock market crash, right?
Yes.
So, they knew that they needed to do something. And that was to take care of that situation and securities as we know it. Now that we're dealing with crypto securities or, cryptocurrencies, we need something else. We need something else that caters to now, the innovation time that we are in. And you can't just all of a sudden, I don't care if you hate the space, but really it's unfair to try to come down with the iron claw of something that doesn't really fit and try it. As kids in kindergarten, right? We knew the circle does not go into a square.
Right. No matter how much you try and shove it in there,
all you're doing is stifling innovation, because now people are scared, right? People don't know what's really going on. If at any whim you could say, you know what? Yeah, this is a security and we deemed it so. It doesn't make sense. And what rules is it actually violating? You need to be more specific, because this space is all about education. We want to be educated.
Right. And so do the government officials. They need to be educated as well. And that's why you come up with, that's why I think you come with these. I mean, they find themselves in the predicament, right? It's because somebody up there doesn't know what's going on, that's trying to implement rules in a space they know nothing about. Mm-hmm. Like, that's never going to work. It's never going to work. You have to know what you're making rules about before you make the rules. And like you said, this space is very much growing every day. It's very much about education. So we need people in our government and in our governmental bodies at every level that understand. If they don't understand the cryptocurrencies themselves, at the very least, they need to understand those concepts, right? That it's always changing, that they need to know where they can go to get reliable information, and understand that this is not going to be the same as what they've dealt with before in the past. And that's I think a key to coming to the proper regulation for this space.
Yeah, for real. Speaking of that, we talked about how the U.S. Treasury has put out a request for comments, right?
Yes. And
that request for comments is their initiation, trying to understand this space a little bit more.
Right.
I think their approach is actually pretty cool, the way that they're doing it, because if you read it, they're looking to get information. Why is this important? What they really want data. They want you to put the real data out there. So essentially you're doing the research for them.
Yes. They're putting us to work, but we need to get to work. They're definitely putting us to work, but it's important that we get to work and show them, because otherwise we're going to continue to see this type of thing for years to come, because we all know that blockchain, cryptocurrencies, they're not going anywhere. We don't go backwards with technology. We are going forward. So if we don't address those problems right now in this stage, we're going to have so many other issues going forward, and we're going to really wish that we had done something more.
We could talk about this for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Very interesting. This is the first real official, violation of quote unquote SEC rules that they can point to, that the entire community is saying, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting, insider trading. And, prior to this, they had another insider trading, but that was more on the ethics side, right?
Right.
DOJ was more involved in that. That was the OpenSea.
Right.
Their Nathan, I think his name was, their employee had similar thing, had access to information prior to it being public. So he had access to some of these collections before they were officially announced on the OpenSea, and he was able to buy them and profit off of them. And so they did them under a different regulation, because they didn't deem an NFT as a security. So it was under a different regulatory body, I think is the DOJ. And so This one is the SEC, because it's crypto. They've been looking at crypto for a minute.
Right.
So they're coming in under securities, and I think the three individuals, they did violate something. They did.
Mm-hmm.
That was insider trading or front running or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
However, why is it that it's securities on this side, but it's ethics on the other
side, right? And so those technicalities like that are the same things. You're going to see people getting away with so much until they can, again, come up with something that makes sense, right, across the board.
All right, so now we're going to go into tips. This is the exciting part.
Yay, tips.
Sam always gives some great tips. We've gotten 4 books so far, and the recommendation to start listening into podcasts. And I think this time around, she has some podcast suggestions. So take it away, Tam.
Excellent. Tips. Okay. So the first tip that I have is everybody's not a reader. I get it. And some people like to diversify their learning. I also get it. Now, the tip that I have is find you a good podcast, somebody's voice you don't mind listening to, so that you can get this information. Okay. A really good starting place. And this is not just simply because I have a biased opinion, because she was part of our International Women Blockchain conference in 2022. But Naja Roberts hosts a podcast, Ahead of the Crypto Curve. And this podcast is a good informational source for everyone from the baby boomer who's interested in why they should know about this space, to innovators who are looking to make connections, to person that just want to learn a little bit more about cryptocurrency and about how they can interact and help even initiatives in the entire market. So Naja Roberts hosts Ahead of the Crypto Curve, and it's available on the KBLA app. She's also available on wherever else you get your podcasts, so Apple, Spotify, and it's it's typically, I think, about an hour, and it is information that anybody in this space can use. Shout out to Naja Roberts for out here pushing education in the space. We appreciate it.
Yes, and Naja just finished up her 42-city tour.
Yeah,
I have to commend her for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Big ups to Naja. She's doing great things in the space. So definitely check her out. We'll link more information below.
Yeah, there's another thing about Naja, right? She's the first Black woman to have, the first person, I think, period, to have their own brick and mortar store.
Right.
That deals with Bitcoin and provides education. So I think that's fantastic. What is the name of it?
Absolutely. The name of that is the Crypto Blockchain Plug. So you can check her out. Also, if you are in the Los Angeles, California area, it's located in California. Check her out. More information linked below.
She also has a kids camp. Crypto Kids Camp.
Yes, she has so many great things. We appreciate Naja for bringing the education that she does to this space and really seriously out there pounding the pavement. Number 2. All right, second one is, you might have heard these gentlemen before, and I know we're Women of Blockchain, but listen, we got to give it out to our brothers when they're out here spreading good information, keeping us up to date with what's going on in the market. So the second podcast that we suggest you guys to tap into, in addition to us, is going to be hosted by King Bless and Isaiah Jackson, and it's called The Gentlemen of Crypto. You can check that out also wherever podcasts are. They've been doing this since I think they first came to the understanding about Bitcoin. I kind of read a little bit about in Isaiah Jackson's book. He's also a published author. The book that we will, I'll tell you the name of the book on another episode because I think it's also a good idea. But if you take this suggestion and go listen to the podcast, you'll easily find his book information as well. But they've both been in this space for a very long time, since before 2019. I think they actually started like in the early 2000s. So they've been in this space for a long time before it became a buzzword that you hear on the internet all the time. Check them out. Not only do they give good information on the cryptos that are in the market, but they also give good information on everything from new projects that are coming up. We've actually been on a different show with Isaiah Jackson, so he's very well versed and knowledgeable in this space. King Bless, it's also a very entertaining podcast. I enjoy tapping into them, and it definitely is something that you should put on your listen list.
100% agree with that. It's definitely a podcast that you guys should tap into. Both podcasts are great suggestions. Fantastic. I think people, if they follow your advice, they're going to walk away with some major knowledge and some people that they're going to add to their favorites. That's for sure. Absolutely. All right. We are now wrapping up. It's time for us to bid y'all adieu. Okay. So we're going to say goodbye and thank you all for joining us. Make sure you follow some of the suggestions that we provide. Do your own research. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you leave a comment. Let us know more you want to hear about. We really enjoy, listen, it's around here somewhere. But make sure you continue to tap in with us. We'll be bringing these podcasts to you on a weekly basis. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Bye. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Women of Web3. Hi, I'm Tam. Okay, hold on. I thought it was Web3 Women. Yeah, I know. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Women of Web3. Oh, God. Web3 Women. No, I say Women of Web3.
All right, that was cool. That was cool. That was cool. That was pretty okay.
Oh, man. Oh, God. I'm getting ready to we have like a production manager.
Right. Get us a real script going here. That would be great.
What do I say? Just give me my line. Just give me my line.
Line. You'd be like, line. Line.